We have a kind of an interesting job to do this morning because we're sort of going to be talking about our younger lives, especially those of us that are approaching 60 or better. We're going to try to tap our memories a little bit about what life was like and what it's like today. The reason for doing that is very, very clear. It gives us a perspective of the kinds of things that have happened over the years in terms of our environment. The remembrances are, and I'll share one with you. The remembrances are what we remember, especially when we were quite young. And I'll tell you a story of mine, and I'll kind of kick it off, and we'll kind of pass the microphone around here, because there's plenty of stories a lot wiser than mine, but I'll tell you one that I particularly remember, and it's near and dear to me, because I can picture it as I can yesterday. Where I live at Zibayit is there's an inlet past Makwadi Bay. And quite often, when we were children, you'd hear this noise out in the bay, and there would be whales coming in and out. And you'd hear somebody shouting, "Budeb! Budeb!" which means whale. And we just know by the laws, as a little kid, by the laws of everything, that when a whale was in the bay, other fish, smaller than the whale, were running away from them. And you just knew that if you went down to the shore with a little pan or something, you were going to come home with a pan full of fish. Because they would just be gurgling and bubbling, and sure enough, there'd be people standing there in the water just flinging the fish onto the shore. And everybody knew that at least for a little while, we were going to eat good. That's a very beautiful memory that I have of growing up.
As a child, we had to go fishing for our breakfast. You know, it don't take long to catch 4 or 5 fish and bring them home and have a meal. Now you can go out there for a month, you wouldn't catch a fish because of the pollution in the water. And I'm not trying to say that the paper companies, or I think other companies that are polluting. Let's take a look at what we're doing. Don't stop making paper, but look at what we're doing. I don't want to put people unemployed. Everybody needs to work.
My name is Fred Peter Paul, a council member of the Micmac tribe in the West Isle. When I was growing up as a kid, you know, my mother and father taught me a lot. We used to have to work in the woods to make a living, cutting pulp, 4 feet long wood in the woods, and he showed me a lot of different things in the woods. I didn't know this stuff. A lot of the stuff in the woods is medicines. I'm here to talk about that. A lot of medicine in the woods that my father taught me that was good for something. I didn't know there was such a thing. There was medicine out in the woods for TB or polio and stuff like that. Until I started picking some of that last summer in different places, you know, I've been in, and some of the places don't even grow anymore. And I often think, you know, it's something to do with the air or the rain or acid rain or something. And I often question that. I get discouraged sometimes because I look down on the ground and the stuff is not there when I used to pick it before.
I had to survive with my children from all that food that the Creator gave us, the fish. And I'm so worried about the medicines from the water, and I'm so worried about the water being polluted, and my neighbors, Penobscots, and all the tribes that are around us. And we used to do a lot of trading with, we'll trade with the meat and they'll give us the fish. And that's not anymore.
About 15 whales out there. Just when the fish come in, and our grandparents would haul to us and tell us to run down with our baskets and our buckets to get our fish. And we never starved, because when a kid is hungry, all you have to do is go down the shore, clean out a can, wash it out, and cook some clams or wrinkles or crabs. And you have a good meal. So it was we never starved. And but we talk about the whales, and we don't have them anymore. And the paupers, when they see the paupers, you see all these canoes going out, because that was our meal, the paupers and the fish. They don't have any more paupers. I don't think they do. They don't have any more whales because it's getting bad down there.
And I tell you, the fish are growing so fast now. Back then, the 3-pounder was a big fish. Now you go fishing, you get your 5-pounder, and the eyes are shining. And as far as the filletheads, I don't even dare to eat the filletheads. My wife told me, she said, you might glare at night.
And Butch from the island, and I have a friend and I go to the island and visit, and we talk about how it was, you know, how everybody helped each other out in times of hard times and stuff. And I don't want to talk it to death about how bad the water is and stuff, but in one summer, we lost 7 elders to cancer. In one summer, 7 of our elders are poor people. And we can't eat the fiddleheads. That's one of our main food to help us. We can't eat that because of the pollution. And the fish, we can only eat 1 or 2 because of the mercury in it.